Hi guys, welcome back to the Psychic Sleuth channel. So today I'm going to be doing just a tentative card reading on Jay Slater. I'm going to throw in some astrology because I have looked at his chart because I wanted to just kind of get an idea as well. It's not looking good, and it is matching the cards, unfortunately. So I'm not going to go deep into the chart because I haven't went over it with her and I don't want to give any wrong information, but there are things that I do know and understand about the chart that I will mention during this. So keep in mind the ways to support the channel are to like, subscribe if you haven't already, comment, and if you want to, you can hit the share and the copy. You don't actually have to share it unless you want to, but it just helps the algorithm, which this channel needs right now. Struggling a little bit to get my social media going because it's been so hot. So hopefully next week it's supposed to cool down. So praise everything that it's gonna cool down a little bit. Not a whole lot, but more than it has been. Um, I've been managing 100-degree, 97 to 100-degree heat for like 6 weeks now. So I'll be thankful when that cools down because it's really draining the hell out of me and I can't do what I need to do. And we want to focus on this. So keep in mind that if you do want to schedule a reading, I do have Wednesdays open. The description box is in the link below, or the link is in the description box below. Sorry, it's 1:11 a.m. and I'm probably not thinking right. Um, and if you would like any products, I am going to get out the products that I owe people. It's just been so hot. I'm a little far behind on that, but I'm going to get those out. And if you want anything specifically made for you, it does help support me during this time where I'm trying to focus on social media. And also, I will get some things out soon for you guys to look at. So keep an eye out for that. All the ways to support the channel are also in the description box below. So thank you for being here just by watching. That is a free way to support me. And remember, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. This is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised just in case. And I don't know how much channel I am going to do during this because I'm already feeling a little bit high and out of it, which I think he was at the time. So that would make complete sense. I actually don't know much about this. Only little things that I've heard here and there. And I actually wasn't drawn to it at first, but now I decided that I want to I've been thinking about him for the last few days and looking at the chart and looking at the cards. I think it's kind of validating as to where he could be. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just say what I've noticed in the chart. So we did notice, or I did notice, and I haven't gone over this with her. Remember, I'm a baby and I'm just learning, so hopefully I'm understanding this right. But he does have Saturn in the 8th house with Neptune at also 29 degrees. 8th house is our house of death. Saturn is our body, so that's not working really good. It's in Pisces, so that is a water sign. So more than likely, his body is in or near water, which I think it's in because also in the 12th house we have Cancer. And he's got, I believe, two placements in Cancer, which I just, from researching tonight and figuring things out on my own a little bit, the 12th house is things that are hidden and is also the second house to indicate where a body may be or death as well. That's kind of why Elijah hasn't been found, because he's very well hidden. His 12th house is Pisces and he's got a lot of planets in there. So when they're in the 12th house, they're like hidden, but it just reached Cancer. So it's a 0 degree. So it literally, that's the most like pure aspect of that sign. So now he's got 2 water signs for where his body could possibly be as far as Jay Slater's concerned. So Jay Slater, going back to, sorry, I kind of skipped over to Elijah because I'm just trying to like explain things. So for Jay Slater, he's got again Saturn and Neptune in the 8th house. Neptune can signify drugs, things like that. But I'm focused more on the Saturn being there in the 8th house, and it is Pisces. So that is a water sign. So again, his body, water. And then we have the 12th house, which also signifies a place of where a body can be, is also in Cancer. So that's also a water sign. So do keep that in mind as we go along here. Also, I found out kind of what indicates an accident in a chart, and that would be Mars in the 10th house, which it is in his chart. And so this is the time that he was reported missing and all of that. That's what I did the crime chart off of. Um, Now, when it comes to card readings, things can come in around it, just like a reading, like it's here to tell stories. So not everything will be directly towards like what happened at that specific time, or you know, that is related to his passing, but there might be things around it, which I'll explain as we go along. Um, so do keep that in mind. Information that comes in, even in cards, and even if I channel it past, present, and future, symbolic, metaphoric, not always literal in the way that things come across, okay? And things can have multiple meanings, such as numbers and whatnot. But I have a hard time breathing with him. I'm telling you that right now. Ever since I started pulling these cards and whatnot, I've had a hard time breathing. And I do follow spirit on how I decide to do cases. I try to do them different ways, and I try to bring us up as much information as I can. So, um, sorry, I like all of a sudden I'm hot. Well, I was hot anyways, but I'm like getting heat flashes, and I can't breathe. I don't feel good about this. I feel like, unfortunately, and I hope that I'm wrong. I hope I'm reading the chart wrong, but there's so many indicators to state that he's no longer with us. Just having a hard time breathing. What I was going to say is I follow spirit on what to use. So if I feel like I need to use cards, or I want to use cards, then I'll use cards and I'll channel, tell you guys whatever I'm seeing. As I pulled the cards, I kept seeing him stumbling around. So I feel like he might have left where he was for whatever reason. And I think I'm going to get into that a little bit more. And then he was stumbling away. Also indicating with the 12th house placements that he could be kind of hidden, so that's why he's not being seen. So that's something to keep in mind too. I actually am not thinking he got very far, depending on what the water is around there, because I kept hearing like within 5 miles. So I know that they've searched that area, but again, if he's really well hidden or in water of some sort and they're not checking the water, and again, I get a span. It's not exactly 5, it's like a span within that span. Spirit will give me like, from here to here in between, or it could be 5 miles, but they'll give me like that range. Um, so I do like to pre-pull my cards and do it that way. That's the way I prefer to do it. And I know a lot of people don't like the cards. They don't say I need them, but they are an extension of me, and they are just symbolism. So they've been highly accurate in all the cases that I've done. I think in Caleb, they even mentioned a wastewater place as well as the astrology did. So if you go back to that reading, you'll see if that was Caleb. Kind of just how the cards and astrology and the channeling all play into it, because look, we're only humans, we're only going to get bits and pieces. I'm not going to get every detail, so I use the cards for extra, I use the astrology for extra. And yeah. All right, so I'm just going to get down to it. The way that these cards are playing out, I cannot breathe with him. I'm sorry, I'm really having a hard time catching my breath. As I was pulling cards, I was coughing, and then my head was hurting, so I do think, and I feel nauseous. And I think that the drugs and the alcohol were also a factor. I think the disorientation of that. I think I see him stumbling around and being dark. I actually, according to the cards, don't feel he's too awfully far from where he left. I do feel like, though, that he was picked up to go. I do know that part, that he was picked up. Okay, that part I did hear, and I'll always tell you guys. And if things come in that are known, it doesn't mean I watched it. I'm gonna tell you what I get, and if it's a fact, it might come in. So that's just the way it works. Um, but I see him leaving that place, but he could have went there and done drugs, and other things like that. Okay, so that could be why he went there, to go party some more and whatnot. Um, it's interesting because I pulled like the sexual intention cards. There might have been some of that going on. Um, so another thing I do know is that he was facing some charges for doing some bad things. So because the imprisonment card comes in. Now again, cards can also have multiple meanings, just as astrology can, just as visions can. That's just the way that it works. So also, these are all a matter of perception. I may misperceive wrong, but I'm trying to perceive it the best way that I can. So we have the imprisonment card. That could be he was getting, he was probably going to do some jail, but he also may have been imprisoned in this situation. It's almost like I get like this spiral of events. Like if he would have just maybe went home and went to bed, like he would have been okay. But it's like he feels like the kind that he was there at a party, he was there to have a good time, and he kind of trapped himself in this situation. Oh crap, we have the death card. I dropped my cards. Natural causes, but I kind of get like it's more like a fall and the elements and the alcohol and the drugs and all of that together, because we also have the accident card, which does seem to align with his chart. I was originally thinking foul play, but when I found out that placement with the Mars in the 10th house can be placed as an accident, which again I'm just learning. I was just trying to go through the chart and validate my cards. We have missing because he is missing. The health risk is because he was partying and whatnot, because the health risk is coming with the drugs and poison card, so that had something to do with it. And again, he was sort of trapped and he might be trapped where he's at. Like he might have fallen just right. You know what I mean? And deceased. Okay, so we have death card, deceased card. It does align with his chart, unfortunately. There might have been some sort of altercation, though, and this could have been the one that was before that he was in trouble for, but there might have been some kind of altercation or a fight or something like that earlier in the night, or even where he was at. But we have the accident card again, and we have the drug card again. But I have like an escape card, which kind of goes along with me seeing him stumble away. I was seeing that the entire time as I was shuffling these cards. I kept like seeing him like stumbling through the dark, like on uneven ground. That's what I kept seeing. Okay. So I did pull some people cards because there are people surrounding the situation, which is interesting. Pluto is in the 7th house of the perpetrator, but it's in like the early degrees, like 1 degree, and it's in Aquarius. So Aquarius rules groups and things like that. So him being in the groups and partying and stuff like that could have led to something happening. If that makes sense. Like that was like the start of the destruction, because Pluto is the planet of destruction. So that's or like a sudden thing. So, and in Aquarius rules are like groups and friends, okay? But he may have like had like a double like male around him, and there is a female like around him. There seems to be a lot of feminine energy in the chart. So I don't know if he was seeing someone. I know there was a female that was mentioned, but she might have been in the situation in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know if she's affluent or not, and if they were going out or anything like that, because we have spouse and partner, and it can just be like she's connected to the situation. We have police because again, the police are involved. I'm not sure if this would fit as far as maybe what he was into or what other people are into, but if they were all together, and they were all doing certain things. Now I do feel he was into shady stuff. I do kind of get that. But I don't know, friend and stranger and terrorist. And again, that doesn't mean that they did anything to him. They could just be around in the situation. From the way that I take it, because again, we have those accident placements and we have all these accident cards. And it could have been any kind of accident, but I see him stumbling away, which I wasn't expecting to get. So that's something that's been kind of repeating. And there's also like a fall of some sort. So as I'm talking to you guys, I kind of get like these jagged type rocks or like very rocky terrain. And I don't know if there's like water or creek. I don't know if he's in water of some sort, because he's got both of those water placements in those houses that I talked about. And there might be a road nearby. And now that could be any type of road. It could be a dirt road, it could be a paved road, but there's a road nearby. Some sort of power supply. Unfortunately, we have the bones card. So you have a lot of indicators, unfortunately. Desert could just be sandy. It doesn't necessarily mean like a desert, but sandy area. I don't have a creek card, so river or creek. And then we have the underwater card, which would align. Water supply, but that could also be just water. There might be a school nearby. I took the motel hotel as the Airbnb. And then we have a mountainous location, which is what it kind of feels like. Crossroads. We have in water, or water, I should say, in water. There's outside, wooded area, in water again, and something may have happened inside though. I kind of feel like there was something and the reason he took off. Crossroads again, so it might be where like, you know, things split off. I think he was facing jail at some point, so that could be why the jail card's coming in again. We have the mountain card and we have the home, but you can take that as he was trying to head home, or he was really not, he's not very far maybe from where he was, that those wherever those people were staying can be viewed as those kind of things. Also, I want to mention like the 12th house is things that are hidden. So not only is it another point of death or where a body could be, but it could be just that like you can't see him. Like you're not going to just walk up on him and see him. Like he might be in a place that's more hidden from bird's eye view is what I heard. And again, I would be checking like creeks or waterways, whatever's around there. I don't think he's too again, I don't feel like he got all that far. I don't know how cold it is out there. I'm wondering about if at nighttime, you know, sometimes when you're on things like your temperature drops as well, because I kind of hear like hypothermia, but that can be just from you know, what's happening to his body temperature. So I wanted to look at my book really quick for as far as Neptune, because that's kind of what's coming to me. So the Neptune actually in the 8th house, which it's at the 29 degrees, it's at the very last degree, which is also kind of like a 5th degree, but that can mean drug overdose if it's in the 8th house. So again, we have his Saturn in the 8th house of Pisces, and we have Neptune in the 8th house of Pisces. So he might have possibly, drugs are definitely seem to be involved. According to his chart, and also noticing that his moon is in the 4th house, which is like a residence or a building and where they could have been, and that could also depict danger. So I'm just going off my book here on little aspects that I just noticed in the chart because I haven't been able to go over it with her yet. So hopefully that's correct. It makes sense to me. And I want to say that Mars in the 10th also can describe like a masculine presence and also describe a situation around masculine symbols. So I just want to throw that out there too. Okay, I think I mentioned just about everything I'm going to mention with the astrology just because I haven't gone over the chart with her and I don't want to give any wrong information. But from my understanding and from what I've like researched tonight and read from my book, that's what I get from the astrology. Okay, so there was some sort of communication going on. There's lots of rumors going on, which we know about. There's some sadness. DNA, that could just be when they find him, they might use DNA. Or there might be some lies involved. You may get a gift somewhere. It seems like there's going to be some fraud exposed. There's some sort of control going on. Ritual, which is like something that you do every day, not necessarily a spiritual thing, but there was unseen danger in the situation. There might be some top secret stuff because I think he was involved in some stuff. The government might be involved in it. Might be some egotism involved. Surveillance. I mean, I know there was pictures floating around about him, but that could be any sort of surveillance. Work card, which can be if he was selling or whatever his work was involved. I'm not really sure about that card. It could be any sort of work. Blackmail maybe going on somewhere. Hot in here. Down the rabbit holes. A lot of people have been. There's been a lot of false accusations. He was intoxicated. That did play a role. There might be microchip, digital evidence, and an incoming message. All those cards kind of came in together. Travel. He was walking and traveling. Plus, he did travel to wherever he was at. Apparently, he was with people. I don't know if that's true or not, but wherever he left, he was still traveling. There might have been some anger in the situation. Prophecy, something that couldn't really be avoided. There might have been some jealousy, again, alcohol. So that seems to play a major role. Money involved as well. Evidence, investigation by the government. There might be some footprints, and DEA, which again for drugs. So there might open a bigger investigation into this. But I feel like he might have went there and done more things, and that might have led to it. Because I feel kind of how I do with overdoses, or when somebody has a lot to drink, or is doing a lot of other things where I can't breathe. Like I'm having a really hard time breathing, which I notice in drug overdoses, they make me have like respiratory failure, with respiratory distress, my heart, all of my chest hurts. I really feel like I can't breathe at all right now. So, well, I mean, I'm obviously breathing, but you know what I mean? Like my breathing feels very my chest feels very heavy. It feels very much like how I kind of felt with Matt Perry's reading. But I keep seeing him stumble away. So for some reason, he wants me to see that vision. Now, I don't get a whole lot of visions with the cards. It's kind of, again, just a tentative reading. I'm just trying to tap in to see what comes up, because in case this information can be helpful, because I did keep seeing him fall today. So I feel like maybe he stumbled and fell. There might be rocky greenery, shrubs around him, but also, again, water. So I would go towards like canyons, areas you would fall down into that include water. That's the way that it's coming across. And I actually don't feel like he made it very far, because I keep getting like it was dark and I can't see. But somehow I feel like he's being missed in some way. I was kind of going towards, well, was this like a drug overdose, and then they panicked and got rid of him? That's a possibility, but he keeps showing me him stumbling. Like that's repeating. And when things repeat, they're usually correct, and I have to say them, otherwise they will drive me crazy. So him stumbling away is something I continue to keep seeing, or stumbling at some point. We should just say that. But when I see him stumbling, like through rocks or like uneven ground. And I keep getting reference to like a dirt road. Like, you know how sometimes we have these dirt roads and they have like rocks or gravel, and they're like kind of uneven when you walk on them, like say you're going hiking or anything like that. Like it feels like uneven ground, and I feel like I'm kind of turned around. So they're making me feel the sense of in JJ's, when I felt like I was in the woods and I was doing kind of circles, like I'm lost in the woods and I can't find my way out. Not saying that is necessarily woods, but wherever he was out, I feel like he got turned around. And again, I kind of was leaning towards, well, somebody did something to him, blah, blah, blah. But all the accident cards, what his chart is saying, and how I'm being made to feel makes me feel, one, like there was too much going on with his system. And for some reason, I take off, I'm disoriented. And the reason why I feel like at some point he had to be walking on uneven ground. And it was, I don't know, was it dark when he took off? I think it was, because I keep seeing like dark. I can see the stars really brightly, but I feel like I get turned around or off course is what I keep hearing. So I'm just telling you what I'm getting, like, because I don't get a whole lot when I do the cards. Sometimes I'll channel after without scribbling, and I'll just tell you what I get. I might do a deeper channeling if I feel the need to. Do an auto write or something of that sort. I will do that for you guys. But right now I'm just kind of like, again, that's just a tentative tap in. In case he can, it can be helped. I just felt like kind of a cool breeze, which was really nice. For some reason it feels like super rocky, or rocky, and I keep feeling like I like fall, lose my footing, can't see, that kind of feeling. it feels like maybe a hillside or a cliff or something of that sort. I keep seeing like kind of like jagged rock. It's like really kind of rocky in that area, but there's shrubs and things like that. But I keep getting reference to like a dirt trail or a dirt road. And it might be a dirt trail or dirt road off of like a regular paved road. Because that's kind of like coming in. So, because it's like that might be where the crossroads were. He should have taken the paved road, and instead he took this dirt road, because it's like, here's the paved road, because I keep seeing a paved road, and I don't know if the paved road kind of turned around the mountains, because I kind of get like it might have been curvy, but it's like I veer off or I go off. Like maybe I'm thinking I could take a short, I don't know. I feel like super disoriented. And for some reason, I feel like maybe he's been overlooked or something. Like, say he's in an area with water and they haven't checked the water. I don't know if they have rivers or creeks there. I kind of looked at the area really quick, just to see there are areas of water. I don't know if there's any water in them now or they've dried up. The ocean kind of seems far. I don't think he would have went in that direction. I don't know which direction. I didn't really pull any ocean cards. I don't know what direction like he was headed. I heard northeast. I don't know if that makes sense, because usually I don't get directions. I don't know. I'm not good at directions. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know which way is north, which way is south. None of that. Especially on an island I've never heard of. So I don't know if that area makes sense. If that area makes sense, northeast direction. It's almost like a canyon crevice somewhere that's, it feels like I've fallen down into, but again, there's water. I don't know if he would have went towards like where the ocean is, how far away that is. That kind of seems kind of far. But I would check water sources in areas that he might have gone to, because again, he's got his Saturn and Pisces, and he's got Cancer in the 12th house. So if you have like, if you have an earth sign in 12th house, it's going to be more earthy. If you have a water sign, it's going to be, water. But he's got two water signs that kind of show where, placements where a body would be at in the astrology. And we got all those cards too. So I think, and it's just the time for that in the astrology, unfortunately. He's making my chest hurt really bad. And I feel super nauseous. I really do think, like I said, he had too much in his system. I feel like drugs and that is a factor. But there is something about like where he went to. Like, I don't know if he went there to get drugs, party, something like that. I kind of feel that. And again, there is a lot of feminine energy in his chart, and I do feel female around it. It was the second card I pulled, and that could be him and her. Like, whatever, I don't know, whatever led to up to. I'm not saying she did anything to him, but it might be like actions that contributed in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's any churches around there. I keep hearing like a bell, like a church bell, and that could be symbolic or literal, or some sort of bell. I don't know why that's coming in. And almost like I'm getting a reference to that little boy that went missing. They missed his remains. Like, they found him recently, and it wasn't far from where like he went missing from. I find that kind of a weird thing, because I've seen multiple cases where I'm told, oh, that area's been searched, and then it's like, okay, but they end up being found there anyways. So they could be really overlooked. I mean, there was a lady that was found like not even a mile from her car, and they checked that area. So it does happen. Especially if, say, they're not checking the water, or it feels like I fall down into something, or Like, I don't know if it's creek or river out there, but it feels very rocky around, like, with shrubs, but then there's water. And I feel like I fall. Like, that's how it keeps, that's what I keep feeling. And I keep hearing, like, if you were to walk on dirt or something of that sort. So I don't know. But there is drugs playing a part in this. And he could have OD'd and they freaked out. But it's just I pulled all the accident cards and stuff, and I keep seeing him, like, stumble away. Like, that's what I keep seeing. Like, I didn't expect to see that, but that's something that's been repeating. But there are lies surrounding this. Like, not everybody's being completely truthful, whether they don't want to get in trouble for whatever, or there's more to the story in the background. Like, I feel like he was into some shady stuff and whatnot. So, there might, or in with some shady people or something of that sort. I mean, and he was in trouble for doing whatever he did. Our people make mistakes, so there's no judgment here. I'm just saying, it seems like he tended to go towards trouble, if that makes sense. Like, that's his personality. Whether it be getting involved with the wrong people or involved with the wrong situations, it feels like he, like, kind of veers into the trouble, danger part of his life. So I don't know. I'm trying to learn a little bit on some different ways to try mapping. I'll be the first to admit I'm not great at location. I can describe what I see, but finding it is a whole nother story. So I'm trying other ways to try to help locate, but I need to practice because so far it's not working out great. And that's with a pendulum that I've tried several times that I can't get to ever be accurate for me. And there's different ways you can do it. And so I'm trying those different ways along with the astrology, because when I'm on a map, I feel multiple things in multiple areas for different reasons, and it's hard to hone in. That's just because I guess my clairsentient isn't overdrive when I'm on a map. Like, I get drawn to certain areas that have had accidents or other things happen before, and it's hard to tell. And sometimes I don't feel anything at all, depending. So, that's one thing I've been working on and I've been trying to get better at. It's not a huge gift for me. Like I said, I can describe it, but finding it is a whole nother problem. And I can get even on a map, like within a few miles. Like, if that was Caleb, the Perry Park was where I was nauseous at, that area on the live, and he did say Perry, but I mean, the pump station wasn't too awfully far from there, but on a map it's close together, right? So it's hard to differentiate how far something is and where exactly I'm feeling it at. But I will take a look at the map on this and see if I feel anything anywhere. If I do, I'll post it, go live about it, talk about it, something. I think that's all I got now. That's all I'm kind of getting. Hopefully it's right. Hopefully it tracks. Um, I'm trying to get more up. I'm hoping next month I will be able to do more cases and whatnot for you, my Patreon backers. I am working on trying to get you something up on Sunday so that I don't keep losing Patreon people. It's just so hard for me to keep up with everything, especially with the heat. I am doing the best that I can. So I appreciate your guys' patience with everything. And I was gonna get some of the products finished and packed up today because some of them are already done, but I didn't get to do that. But I will do that too, either tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday. So if anybody's wanting to order anything specific, then let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to get some new stuff out. But I think that's all I got for now. Again, I'll let you know if I get anything else, if I decide to do another reading, whatnot. Hopefully this is helpful. I thank everybody for liking, subscribing, being a part of this channel. You're very much appreciated. And talk to you next time.